Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss some of the concepts of Unix shell programming. As you know, Unix is an operating system. Shell and kernel are two most important concepts of Unix operating system. Kernel of the operating system is the hub of the operating system. We often call it as operating system itself, whereas shell acts as an interface between the user and the kernel. Let us discuss some of the concepts of Unix operating system. The first concept is conditional control structures in Unix. When we write a program, many of the statements like declaration statements, assignment statements will be executed one after the other. That is, sequential execution will happen. But sometimes we may require to perform an action only when another action returns the value true. Then we are going to use conditional control statements. Shell programming provides many conditional control statements. The first one is if then fi statement. Like most of the programming languages, shell also uses if to implement a decision control instruction. Syntax of if then fi statement is if in the square bracket we are going to mention test command, then command block fi. So test command is any valid Unix command, and the keyword if will tell the shell that what follows is a decision control instruction. And if the test command returns an exit status 0, then the command block is executed. If the exit status is 1, then the command block is not executed. Instead, it will be the control will be taken after fi statement. So fi indicates the end of if statement. So it mainly, the test condition mainly depends on the exit status. Either it may return 0 or it may return 1. Let's consider one example for if then fi statement. Here we have used two file names as input. So as you know, clear is used to clear the output screen, echo is used to print a string on the output screen, read is used to read the input, cp is the copy command. If statement we have used here. So after reading the two input file names, that is source file name and the target file name, we have taken source file name variable as source and target file name variable as target. So cp $source $target, dollar is used to evaluate the value of the variable. So here if statement always executes when the test condition here in this program is cp $source $target. cp is a command. As I told, test condition can be any valid Unix command. cp command is used to copy. Here, if the cp command is able to copy the file successfully, then the exit status of this command will become 0. Then it will enter into the if condition and then it will become true. It will print file copied successfully on the screen. If it is not able to copy the files, then the control will be transferred out of the fi statement. Next statement is if then else fi statement. As we have seen, if statement, it is used to execute a single command or a group of commands when the exit status of the control command is 0, but it does nothing when exit status is 1. If you want to execute one set of statements if the exit status is 0 and another set of statements when the exit status is 1, then we have to use if then else fi statement. The syntax is if test command, then command block 1, else command block 2 fi. fi is used to close the if statement. Test command, as we have seen in the if statement, it is any valid Unix command. If the exit status of the test command is 0, then the command block 1 is executed, and if the exit status is 1, then the command block 2 is executed here. In either the case, you can observe here at least one group of statements is executed. After executing either command block 1 or command block 2, the control is transferred to the next statement of fi. So the command block 1 or command block 2 may be a single statement, or it can contain a group of statements or group of commands. Let us see example for if then else fi statement in the next slide. Consider the example of finding the largest of two numbers. Here we have given information to the user on the screen to enter the two numbers by using echo statement, and read statement is used to accept the value of the variables. Here we have taken two variables a and b. In the if statement we have given the condition. We are checking whether value of a is greater than value of b. So dollar is, as I told, is used to evaluate the value of the variable, and -gt is greater than. So here we are checking value of a is greater than the value of b. For example, the user enters the value of a as 20 and the value of b as 10. Then if statement will check 20 is greater than 10. The condition will become true. So exist status will become 0. Then it will execute. After the then statement we have echo statement. In the echo statement we have written $a. $a is nothing but 20 is greater of two numbers. This will be printed on the screen. For example, if the user enters the value of a as 10 and the value of b as 20, then a is not greater than b. Hence it will move to the else statement, and in the else statement we have written one echo statement, that is $b, which is 20 is greater of two numbers. Okay, then it will come out of the statement. So either one of the block will be executed. Either the if block is executed or the else block will be executed in if then else fi statement. The third statement is if then elif else fi statement. Elif is a short form of else plus if. If you have multiple conditions to check for, then you can go for this kind of statement. Here you can observe multiple elses are written one after another. In the syntax you can observe we have test command 1, test command 2, test command 3. If test command 1 is true, then it will execute command block 1. If test command 2 is true, it will execute command block 2. Like that you can mention n number of conditions. At the end we have written else, which is optional. If none of the conditions satisfies, that is exist status will become 0, then command block n will be executed. Here the first shell will always check for first if statement, that is test command 1. If the test command 1 status exist status is 0, then command block 1 will be executed. If the test command 1 exist status will become 1, then it will go to test command 2. Then test command 2 exist status will be checked. If it is 0, it will execute command block 2. If it is 1, it will check the next test command 3. If test command 3 is 0, then it will execute command block 3. If it is 1, then it will move on to the next command, like that. If none of the test commands results in true, then it will execute command block n, which is present in the else. Though we have written multiple conditions here by using if and else statements, one fi is enough for closing this entire block. Let's consider one example for if then elif statement. Here we are asking the user to enter the file name, and we are checking the type of the file here. In the first statement, if statement, we have checking -f $file. -f is option used to check for the regular file. $file will give the name of the file, and we are checking whether that file is a regular file by using -f option. So if it is a regular file, then the condition will become true, then it will print that file is a regular file. If it is not a regular file, then it will move to the next statement, that is elif. -d option we have used to check for directory file. If it is a directory file, then the condition is true, then it will print that file as a directory file. If it is neither the directory file or the regular file, as I told you, the last option will be else part. If none of the conditions satisfies, then whatever statement you have written in the else, that will be executed. If it is not the file which is mentioned by the user is not a regular file or a directory file, then it will go to else part and it will print the file is neither a regular file nor a directory file. Next statement is nested if statement. Nesting of if means an entire if else fi construct can be written in either the body of the if statement or in the body of the else statement. This is called as nesting. In the syntax, the first shell will check for the test command 1. If it is true, then it will check for the test command 2. It will, if the test command 1 is true, it will enter the if else construct inside the if statement. So it will check for the test command 2. If that is also true, then command block 1 will be executed. If test command 1 is true but test command 2 becomes false, then it will go to the else part and it will execute command block 2. If the test command 1 becomes false, then it will directly go to the else part. Outer else part it will go to, and it will check for the test command 3. If the test command 3 is true, then it will execute command block 3. If the test command 3 is false, then it will execute command block 4. And corresponding if statement will be ended with fi statements as in the syntax. Let us consider the example of finding the greatest of three numbers. Here we have asked the user to enter the values of three numbers, and here we have read three variables a, b, c. First condition, we are checking whether value of a is greater than the value of b. If that condition is true, it will enter into the if else construct. Then it will check for another condition, a is greater than c. If both the conditions are true, that is a is greater than b and also a is greater than c, then it will print a as the greatest number. Else it will print c as the greatest number. That is, a is greater than b but a is not greater than c. Then it will print c as the greatest number. If a is greater than b is false in the beginning, then it will not enter the if else construct inside the if statement. It will directly go to the else part. In the else part, it will check for value of b greater than the value of c. If b is the greatest number, it will print b as the greatest number. Else, it will print the c as the greatest number. In the next concept, we'll see what are the three basic modes of VI. VI is a visual editor. It is a screen-based editor used by many Unix users. It is a default editor that comes with a Unix operating system. There are three basic modes. The first mode here is command mode. This is the default mode whenever the user enters VI editor. In this mode, most of the letters or short sequence of letters, whatever you type in, that will be considered as commands without hitting the enter key. You have observed when you are in the terminal, whenever you enter some of the characters, those characters are commands, but until and unless you hit the enter key, those characters will not be interpreted as commands. You have to hit the enter key, then it will be interpreted as commands. But here, any characters will be interpreted as commands directly, and if you press escape, you will be in the command mode and your terminal will beep at you once. This is a very good way to tell when you are in command mode. The second mode is insert mode. As I told, when you enter VI editor, you will be by default in the command mode. If you want to enter into the insert mode from the command mode, you have to type lowercase letter a. If you press escape, then you will be ended from the insert mode and you will be returned back to the command mode. In the insert mode, whatever you type is inserted in the file at the cursor position. Third type of mode is line mode. To enter the line mode from the command mode, you have to type colon. When you type colon, your cursor moves to the bottom of the screen by the colon prompt. Then you have to type the line mode commands and then you have to hit the enter key. The line mode commands are like small letter WQ, which is used to write the file to the disk and quit, and small letter W, which is used to save the file and remains in the command mode itself. And remember, you can use only line oriented commands in the line mode, and each time when you use a line mode command, you must type a colon to enter the line mode, then type the command by the colon prompt at the bottom of the screen, then press enter when you finish typing the command. Next concept is Unix file system. So before going to file system, we should know what is file. A file is the unit of storage in Unix, like as in many other operating systems. So a file can hold text, a program, or it can hold a digitally encoded pictures or sounds, etc. So file also includes directories and devices. After the disk has been partitioned, it is still not ready for the use. The file has to be created. So the term file system has to be known. So what is file system? A file system, we can consider it as a component of the Unix which enables the user to view, organize, secure and interact with files and directories that are located on storage devices. Hence, we can consider it as a large collection of files on the partition or a disk. So we can have two meanings for the file system. One is we can consider the file system as the entire hierarchy of directories that is used to organize the files on a computer system. And the second, we can consider it as a type of the file system, that is how the storage of the data, that is the files and folders, all these are organized on the computer disk. Next we'll see what are the different types of files in Unix operating system. The first one is ordinary files. This is the most common type of the files in Unix operating system. We can consider it as a plain collection of bytes with arbitrary data, which includes all the data. We can consider source programs, object programs and executable codes also, and all the Unix commands, as well as any files which are created by the users in that particular operating system. The commands like cat, ls, all these we can consider as ordinary files, and these type of files we can call it as the regular files also. There is another name for the ordinary file. An ordinary file can be a text file or it can be a binary file. Second type of file is a directory file. It's a special type of file in the Unix operating system which only contains a list of other files. We cannot work with these directories directly. Instead, we manage them with the standard commands provided with our operating system. The directory contains no external data but keeps some details of the files and the direct subdirectories that it contains. The directories are created to group a set of files pertaining to a specific application. A directory file contains two fields for each of the file created by the user. The first is the name of the file and the second is its identification number, which is inode of that particular file. Third type of file is device file. In Unix operating system, each and every hardware devices like printers, tapes, floppy drives, CD-ROMs, hard disk and other terminals are treated as file. A device file allows to access hardware devices so that the users do not get the technical details about the hardware. It is also called as a special file, which is an interface to the device drivers that appears in a physical system like an ordinary file. The device file, it is a special in a way that any output directed to it will be always reflected onto the respective physical devices associated with that particular file name. Depending on the way of accessing each devices, its special device file can be either a character or it can be a block device file. Character files are most special device files. These files processes one character at a time, and the devices referred by them are called as raw devices. The most important thing about raw devices is that all the read-write operations are direct, immediate, and they are not cached. Character files are used to model serial I/O devices like you can consider terminals, printers, and networks. Whereas block device files will provide similar access to the same device, but the interaction is buffered by the kernel of the Unix operating system. These files are used to model disk drives
and tapes. These files allow buffered block of data to be read from a device and sent to a device efficiently.
Thank you for listening.